Hello everyone and welcome to part 3 of our F1 driver career mode here for the British Grand Prix. Last time out we were in Imola. If you haven't seen that one, make sure to go check that out first. It was a great race. We were able to score our first points of our career in Italy. And yeah, it was a very exciting race, especially right towards the end with a safety car to spice things up. We sit 9th in the standings now after finishing P8 in that Grand Prix with 4 points to our name, just a couple points ahead of Esteban Ocon in the Alpine there. Leclerc leads the way in for Ferrari ahead of Perez in second in the Red Bull. Ferrari also lead the constructors ahead of Red Bull in second, and so yeah, those guys battling away as you would expect in the first season of a career mode. In terms of the performance chart, Ferrari, Mercedes and Aston have made their way closer to Red Bull, surprisingly. Red Bull sort of stagnating heading into the British Grand Prix this time out. So those three guys all starting to make that a big four-way battle for the lead. Meanwhile, the midfield battle becoming a lot closer. Haas have now overtaken Alpine, and we've overtaken Williams to become 4th from the bottom in the performance chart. AlphaTauri still sort of lagging behind a little bit. However, the likes of Haas, Alpine, Alfa Romeo, Williams and McLaren are all very, very close. And so as we head into Silverstone, it should be anyone's game to score some good points or to have an absolute shocker of a race, really. Who knows what could happen, especially if we have a race like we did last time out in Imola, where absolutely anything can happen. We had 2 safety cars in that race. It was raining at the start, dry at the end. You can see here it is raining at the start of the British Grand Prix as well. It's sort of unclear if it's meant to dry up or not. It sort of looks like it is supposed to, but it could very well still be wet towards the end and just sort of still in that drying, damp phase. We'll just have to wait and see. However, at the moment it is most definitely raining as we all sit on the grid lining up for the Grand Prix. We've had our best qualifying so far here in Silverstone to qualify inside the top 10 in P8. So the upgrades that we are bringing are definitely working for us. And yeah, this is our best opportunity yet to try and score some good points in Britain, a very wet Britain. But yeah, let's get to the grid rundown now for the rest of the field for the British Grand Prix.
Before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. A fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday, and it's put him on pole, and Lewis Hamilton completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Verstappen, Russell, Perez, Sainz, Fernando Alonso, Benjamin, Norris, Stroll, Joe, Ocon, Gasly, Magnussen, Albon, Oscar Piastri, Hulkenberg, Sargent, Sonoda, and Nick de Vries. That's it then, it's time to go racing as we head down trackside for today's race.
After the points finished last race, let's aim to keep that momentum going.
So here we are sitting in P8 for the British Grand Prix. As I said, a very wet race, and it is looking to be wet till pretty much the very end. And so, unlike last time out in Imola, where we pit halfway through to go onto the dry tyres, we're going to have to hope our pace is good in the wet, because it is looking to be that way the entire way through. We are, as I said, in a very good position to try and score some points as we're actually starting off in the points. We don't actually have to make up any positions to get into the point scoring positions, and we just have to sort of try and hold off these cars behind us. We do have some quick cars behind us though. You can see already we've got a McLaren behind us, and even though in the performance chart it says that we're ahead of them, I don't know how much I believe that, because the likes of especially Norris is very quick. We've got the Aston Martin of Stroll behind us as well, and so while his driver rating isn't as high as like Alonso's is, he's still got a very quick car as we absolutely nail the grid positioning there, 0.1 meter away from the line. So we really couldn't go any further forward if we wanted to, as we go to the 5 red lights, and we are underway for the British Grand Prix very quickly. They're not getting held up whatsoever, and it's a much better start than what we had last time out in Imola. We're up alongside Alonso immediately, looking to the inside of the Ferrari even. I end up backing out of it and end up back alongside Fernando Alonso. We're going to go around the outside of turn 2. We'll have the inside for turn 3. And we should get the move done there on the Aston Martin. We actually still side by side, so Alonso putting up a fight there, as you would expect from the 2-time world champion. We have the outside now of turn 4, and with the better traction that comes with being on the outside, we do get the move done. And so we've made up one position so far here. Stroll has made a move on Lando Norris to get himself up in a P9. So that's not the only battle that we had going on, as well as Alonso again trying to look at us. We've got Zhou trying to go around the outside of Lando Norris as well, trying to get himself up into the points-paying positions. Could it be a double points-paying position race for us here in Alfa Romeo? He's certainly got the move done on the McLaren for now. He's into P10, and so great to see, definitely. The upgrades that we are bringing here to the Alfa Romeo Sauber team are working for us, if even our teammate is able to be making the moves. Meanwhile, Stroll is all over the back of his teammate, Fernando Alonso. So Stroll has had a great start. It looks like he's trying to carry that momentum through to potentially even attack his teammates now as we head into Maggotts and Beckett's. These guys are still all over the back of me here. Alonso's made a mistake even, and Stroll around the outside of his teammate. These guys are absolutely not holding back. Stroll does not care at all. He wants his position off of Fernando Alonso. I guess maybe trying to prove himself against the two-time world champion, who's been doing very well in that Aston Martin, especially in real life this year. I guess here in the game, he's absolutely trying to get himself ahead as we head now down towards the end of lap 1. These guys are still going at it. Stroll does, in the end, get the move done on Fernando Alonso into P8. Alonso now down to P9, and that has allowed Zhou to actually stick on the back of these guys, so hopefully maybe he can even try and get a move. It's a mistake for Stroll, and that allows Fernando Alonso straight back through. So after all of that, I was just talking about Stroll trying to prove himself. He makes a mistake immediately, and lets Alonso back through, who is now all over the back of us once again. And I've got to say, I don't know what it is here, but this Alfa Romeo is not handling very nicely for me. I'm actually sort of struggling here with pace. You can see the front guys, as you would expect anyway. But we're only halfway through lap 2, and the front guys are already just gone. They're 5 seconds up the road, and I've got Fernando Alonso all over the back of me, harassing me down this straight. As Stroll pulls up alongside his teammate once again, we're going to get sort of in a sandwich here between the two Aston Martins. Alonso on our inside, Stroll on our outside. Alonso gets the move done. Stroll runs a little bit wide there, and so I was able to hold on to P8 at least. Stroll under a bit of attack from Zhou after making that little mistake around the outside. In the end, Stroll is able to hold on to P9, Zhou in P10 for now. But just to show the sort of lack of pace that we do have, immediately, even though we should have had a gap from those guys battling, we were attacked straight away by Fernando Alonso, who got through and is already now about 2 seconds up the road from us. So we look forward here on lap 3. Charles Leclerc under attack from Max Verstappen. Remember, Verstappen, an absolute shocker last time out in Imola, not scoring any points for himself. So he's going to be trying to make up for that here in Britain. And he goes to the inside of the Ferrari. They're going to keep going side by side now, heading down into this final chicane section. Verstappen will have the outside before having the inside. So who's going to have the better run through this corner? It looks like it is Charles Leclerc who retakes the lead of the race. And actually Lewis Hamilton around the outside of the Red Bull, trying to make a very, very advantageous move here onto the Red Bull after sort of just having that extra momentum around the outside of those last couple of corners. Is a very, very brave move for the 7-time champion. They're going to keep going side by side though, neither of them wanting to yield, and this is just allowing Leclerc to run even further away in the lead of this race. As these guys are still going while I'm talking away, Hamilton does, in the end, get the move done. And so Verstappen, instead of getting himself up into P1, has now dropped down to P3. And he's actually going to have to sort of have a look behind and make sure his teammate, Sergio Perez, doesn't attack him. As we now look on lap 4, though, the other Aston Martin of Lance Stroll is going to come through. You can see we're already almost 4 seconds back from Fernando Alonso. And Stroll actually makes a bit of contact with us there, heading into the left-hander. But yeah, Stroll now goes through. We now have lost a net position since the start of the race. We're now down to P9. We're actually under attack from our teammate Zhou Guanyu for the last couple of points paying positions. As we head down the hanger straight towards Stowe, here comes Zhou down the straight. I'm trying to conserve a bit of battery because I'm going through it very quickly. Zhou dives it to the inside of Stowe. He wants to get through here, and honestly, I'm not going to put up too much of a fight against my teammate. If he's got more pace than me, then it is much better for him to try and get up the road and score some more points, to think about sort of the constructors a little bit, to potentially help going into Season 2 with the prize money. But Zhou does go through into P9. We're now in P10. I'm going to have to try and defend from Esteban Ocon as it is now. Magnussen tried to attack us, and then Ocon was able to slip through on the Haas. So now we're defending from an Alpine. You can see already the gap is 1.1 seconds to Zhou Guanyu. If DRS wasn't able, we would already be out of it. As we now cut to lap 9, he's almost 4 seconds up the road. You can see I'm adjusting the downforce for when we do eventually come into the pit lane, because I can't work out why I've just got absolutely no pace in this Grand Prix. Magnussen has been able to slip back through on the Alpine there as we headed into Maggotts and Beckett's, and he's immediately all over the back of myself as we head down the hanger straight down towards Stowe. You can see again, I'm trying to just conserve a little bit of battery because I'm draining it so fast, trying to keep ahead of these guys. Luckily for me at the moment. It's all fine, trying to hold on as Magnussen dives to sort of halfway through the corner there. He just had a bit more corner pace, and so he just threw himself down the inside there, over the inside curb, as we now find ourselves alongside. This is for the last points paying position. We head through the final corner. Magnussen's able to easily slip through, and Ocon even with a better run there. He's going to try and put us down to P12. I have to end in the end, have to sort of just let him through as we head into turn 1. And so it's all just slipped away from us here. Looking a bit further up though, Max Verstappen is attacking Lewis Hamilton to regain that second place position in the Grand Prix. Hamilton tries to hang it around the outside there of the right hand. He's not quite able to get it done. And so in the Red Bull, Verstappen is able to get himself back up in P2. It's already a 3-second gap to Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari though, so a very good race there for the Monegasque driver. Now Sergio Perez in the other Red Bull though is making a move on Lewis Hamilton as well. So Hamilton going to go from second down to fourth in a lap here. And so yeah, the Mercedes pace maybe just not quite as good as the Red Bulls in the long run. Maybe the Red Bulls are able to look after their tyres a little bit better. And so the initial pace was better for Hamilton. But now Verstappen and Perez easily able to work their way through. As we look a bit further back, Gasly now heads his way down the inside of us into turn 1, heading on to lap 11 here. And so we're now down to P13, and it's not looking to get any better for us anytime soon. As we look forward, this is still on lap 11. Sainz now going through and moving Lewis Hamilton. Russell's already got through in his teammate. Now Sainz as well, so maybe it's not actually a Mercedes issue, but maybe an actual reliability issue or something, or a mechanical issue that's happening there for Lewis Hamilton, because he is just dropping positions at the same rate as us, which is not good whatsoever for him or myself. As actually Fernando Alonso's gotten himself a part of this battle as these guys go side by side down the hangar straight down towards Stroll. It was almost 3 wide for a second there, but Alonso deciding to back out of it. Sainz around the outside of the Mercedes in the end does get it done. Is Alonso going to dive it to the inside of the chicane? Not quite. He decides to sit behind for now as Hamilton actually goes a bit wide. So there's definitely some sort of weird issue happening there. I can't quite tell where he's losing the pace though. As we head into Maggots and Beckett's, Albon gets us completely before we even make it into the corner. They try and come back at him there, but a little bit of contact and just a slight mistake from myself means he's able to get through, and we'll just sort of put offline, and so he gets a much better run out of the corner than us. So we're now down to P14, losing position to Alex Albon in the Williams. Looking back ahead though, Hamilton is under attack from Fernando Alonso. This is sort of at the same time as that move with Albon happened. That's just how far ahead these guys are. They're almost a whole half lap ahead of us. That's just the difference in terms of the front pack and the mid pack. And Alonso does get through on Lewis Hamilton for P6. Hamilton now has dropped from 2nd to 7th. So definitely some sort of car issue there. As Hulkenberg throws himself down the inside of Copse there, I get a bit of a better run out of the corner. I'm going to have a little look here, try and make a similar move to what Albon made to us. We're going to go side by side into Maggots and Beck as we make a little bit of contact, even more contact actually, and I just sort of have this little wiggle as I lose the car, and so Hulkenberg is through. In fact, we've even got our fellow Aussie Oscar Piastri working his way alongside us there. We get back ahead of the McLaren for now. However, those guys in the slipstream are coming straight back at us. We've got Piastri and Sargent looking to try and make a move on us now. Sargent to the inside of the McLaren. Is he going to get the move done? We've got a couple of bad camera angles there, so we have to go back to just watching ourselves and look at the battle behind us. Sargent will have the outside there. Unfortunately for the Williams though, the McLaren gets himself back ahead into P16. Sargent back to 17th for now. But just look how far back we are. We're down now in P15, looking up ahead though on lap 13. It's a spin for Zhou. Zhou, our teammate, remember we let him go because he was the best shot at getting some points for us at Alfa Romeo, and he's just thrown it away there by spinning around. And you can actually see a safety car has been deployed. So we're going to get back ahead of our teammate now, which is a huge shame because now any opportunity of points is absolutely looking to be thrown out the window. Just because of a lack of pace from myself and that mistake from Zhou, we now find ourselves in P14 and P20 as these front guys come in. Leclerc in, Verstappen in, Perez, and Russell actually continue on. So too does Carlos Sainz. Fernando Alonso comes into the pit lane. Hamilton comes into the pit lane. And I can confirm Stroll as well also decides to skip. So it seems the teams aren't willing to double stack, and you can see here, nobody in front of us coming into the pit lane. I will come in for a fresh set of inters. We're at the halfway point of the race anyway, but nobody else has come in. The front 4 guys did, and then myself, but nobody else has come into the pit lane. 5 cars in total have come in for a fresh set of intermediate tyres. It's not like it's expected to go dry. I've actually had confirmation from Jeff that it's supposed to rain all the way to the end of the race. So we'll have a look at the order check now because it is very shuffled up. Perez leads the way for Red Bull. George Russell in the Mercedes is in 2nd. Then Sainz in 3rd. Stroll 4th. Then we do have the guys that pit. So Leclerc, technically leading the way there in P5. Then Verstappen in 6th, Alonso 7th. Then you've got Magnussen, Ocon, and Gasly who haven't pit in P8, 9, and 10. Then Lewis Hamilton in P11 who has pit. And then nobody else in the rest of the field has pit yet except for myself, where I am right down in P20 at the very back of the field. I decided either way, our pace was absolutely not worth it. We were going to drop all the way down to stone dead last at some point with the pace that we were showing. So we might as well throw ourselves onto a fresh set of tyres. And with this safety car restart sort of resetting us, we'll be able to be on the back of the field. And hopefully this will make up for the pace that we just don't seem to have. So we're all over the back of our teammate here as we head into turn 1. You can see able to carry more speed through the first corner as we head through turn 2, even having to dive to the outside there to make sure we don't run up the back of our teammate. We're to the inside of turn 3. We get the move done up into P19 for now. And we are looking at the back of Nick de Vries to try and get P18 off the AlphaTauri. Again, still the slowest car in the field. Looking a bit further up, though, that's not the only battle happening. Verstappen gets through on Lance Stroll there. Leclerc has also made his way through on Stroll. Now Alonso trying to get through on the Aston Martin. So certainly the fresher tyres seem to be a much bigger advantage as we're trying to find a way through on the AlphaTauri. We sneak it very cheekily down the inside there. Just sort of cutting down the inside of what would normally be the racing line. So that is us up into P18 for now. We made up a couple positions. As we look a bit further up, Tsunoda makes a mistake, and so I have to back out of, unfortunately, a potential move as he comes back onto the racing line. However, look at the mini-map. Everyone in front of us, and I can't stress that enough, it is everyone except for the people at pit. So the front 4 guys have stayed out, then every other single car in the field has come into the pit lane straight after the safety car. I have no idea what is happening here, but we now find ourselves in 5th place and with a massive, massive margin to Sergio Perez all the way back in P6. And so a race that was looking to be an absolutely forgettable nothing at the start of this, and as we were just falling back through the field, has now somehow became a very, very, very good possibility of scoring some nice points. As you can see, Perez finally exits the pit lane. It is an 18.5 second gap back to the Red Bull with just 11 laps remaining. So we're going to have a little look further back now. Magnussen under attack from George Russell, who's trying to get himself back into the points-paying positions. That Mercedes did not have a good stop, and it's another engine failure for Kevin Magnussen. 2 in a row, last time out in Imola, and now this time out in Silverstone. And so these Ferrari engines are going to have to be looked into, because, yeah, that's now 3 races in a row where a Ferrari engine has gone bang. In fact, even twice for the same driver there for Magnussen. Very, very poor luck for him. Now looking to the lead of the race, though, Max Verstappen and Charles Leclerc have gotten themselves back up to the front now after everyone else came into the pit lane, and the battle resumes between Red Bull and Ferrari here on lap 18. They're going to go side by side. Unfortunately, I've been dealt some very, very crappy camera angles. There's nothing I can do about it, unfortunately, as these guys go side by side. We just have to sort of keep cutting between them to work out where they are. And Verstappen, in the end there, is ahead by quite a bit as well. He's had a good run out of that corner, and so he's got himself ahead of Charles Leclerc. Looking a bit further back, though, Russell continues his charge through the field, now attacking our teammate Zhou Guanyu for P12 and 13. Zhou's going to try and defend to the inside here. However, the much fresher tyres, oh, actually, they're both on fresh tyres, but that Mercedes much quicker at the moment in that car compared to the Alfa Romeo, so he's able to easily get through. He's now immediately going to attack Esteban Ocon in the Alpine for P11, so Russell's slowly eking his way closer to the points-paying position. Meanwhile, further back, Stroll is still down in P15 as well, so that's another car that's out of position. And yeah, this whole weird strategy mess has completely played around with the race and caused some real exciting battles to kick off here, as Russell's still following that Alpine through. He's had a much better run through Copse, so he's going to look to the inside as they head into Magnussen Beckett's the Alpine, and the Mercedes go side by side. There's almost contact there as Ocon edges his way back ahead for now. However, Russell is all over the back of the Frenchman as they head onto the hangar straight. He'll be in the slipstream, and you would imagine he's going to be deploying battery. He's going to fly up on the back there of the Alpine. No DRS, obviously, in these wet conditions. He's going to opt for the outside once again, so he likes to make this move, George Russell, in that Mercedes with that extra pace that he has in hand. He gets the move done up into P11, and the next target for him is Yuki Tsunoda for the first points-paying position that will be coming up to him there in P10 as we cut forwards a bit now. Zhou under attack from Lance Stroll, who's also trying to work his way up towards the top 10. Zhou, unfortunately, he was, he's gone from looking to score his first points of the season to now sort of slowly falling his way back through the field. So we sort of swap positions at the moment, except I still don't quite have some incredible pace as we cut to lap 24, so about 2.5 laps remaining, and Perez has closed that entire 18.5-second gap down. That just shows the pace difference between not just the Alfa Romeo and the Red Bull, but also just the lack of pace that I have. Because remember, it's not like I've magically found a bunch of pace. It was just I had better pace than everyone on the fresher tyres, and then everyone else threw themselves into the pit lane anyway, and so I found myself in P5, and so it's really going to be no contest here. I've got no battery left because I've been pushing to try and hold this gap to Perez, but he just flies past us anyway with that Red Bull engine, same as what we saw with Verstappen in Imola, where he just absolutely flew past us and wasn't even close down that main straight as Perez gets it done into Copse. And I'm going to try and sort of keep it close here through Maggots and Beckett's, but I've just got absolutely nothing. The car just is not responding to me whatsoever in the way that I want to, so I don't know what the difference is between Imola and Silverstone. But yeah, the pace in the wet at Imola was absolutely fine, and here I've just got absolutely nothing. It's just a complete mystery to me. I spent the whole race playing around with brake bias and differential, and obviously you saw I changed the downforce before we came in for the pit stop. And yeah, nothing just seems to be working for me here. As we look at Russell now, he's made the move on Tsunoda earlier on. He's now going to try and make the move on Piastri around the outside of Stowe to get himself into P9. So that's a couple points in the bag there for Russell. So there's been a good comeback drive there for the Mercedes. It's been nice to watch as well. Some overtakes getting done as we now head half a lap to go now. On lap 26, Sainz has now closed in on us in the Ferrari. I didn't put up as much as the fight as I could have with Perez because I was never going to hold that. He's already 6 seconds up the road from us. However, with half a lap to go, I'm going to fight tooth and nail to hold on to position over this Ferrari. Sainz already tried to pass us into Copse there, as you would have seen there. I'm going to try and hold on though. I have managed to hang it around the outside, and this is really the last opportunity that Sainz has. I've got no battery left, and that Ferrari is a little bit quicker in a straight line as well anyway, as he flies up on the back of us. I'm going to go to fence him. I'm going to squeeze him to the inside as we head down the hanger straight towards Stroll. I'm going to hang it around the outside of the Spaniard, and I do just about hold position over Carlos Sainz. And so in the end, after what has been really a shocker of a race in terms of race pace, it's going to be an incredible position. Our best finish of the season so far is going to be an incredible P6 finish here in Silverstone for the British Grand Prix.
Okay, pick up rubber and bring it home.
So as they climb out of the car, the Red Bull team are ready and waiting to celebrate a thoroughly deserved win. Well, Anthony Davidson, a resounding victory today, but what set them apart from the rest?
Well, keeping their tyre temperatures up in the tricky wet conditions was really important. There's not much grip out there at the best of times, and it's 10 times worse if you're out there on cold tyres. So the way they kept the rubber in its proper operating window was a huge advantage today.
Red Bull are our winners today after showcasing some incredible driving. There's been a huge push from them lately to stay competitive with the other teams, and they're certainly proving themselves.
So here we are with the results for the British Grand Prix. Verstappen takes the win in the end there after that battle with Charles Leclerc, who finishes in P2. Alonso ends up in the podium, which, remember, we were ahead of him at the start of the race. And so that just shows the difference. We ended up 34 seconds away with that safety car that happened at the midpoint as well. So that it just absolutely shows the absolute lack of pace that we had. Perez ends up in P5 in the end after hunting us down 18.5 seconds. That was some crazy difference in pace there between us. We finished in P6 though, a great 8-point haul for myself to get us up into 12 points total after 3 rounds of the season. Leclerc still leads the way now by 10 points over Sergio Perez. Verstappen's moved himself to 3rd in the championship. Sainz P4, Alonso in 5th, Hamilton sits in P6, Russell in 7th, and myself sitting in P8 at the moment. So we moved ourselves up another position, and holding on to Sainz in the end, they actually ended up being a bit crucial because we're now on equal points to Lando Norris, but because we've had a better finishing position so far this season, we are ahead of him. and he's in P9 terms. Of the constructors, there's a dead heat between Red Bull and Ferrari now. 90 points for the both of them, ahead of then Mercedes with 32 points behind in third, Aston fourth, McLaren fifth, ourselves sitting in P6 still, only 1 point away from McLaren. So hopefully Joe can get some points soon. He was definitely showing the possibility of it in this race. If he hadn't spun and caused that safety car, then he very well could have finished in P9 maybe. So it's certainly possible for our teammate to score some points, which is nice to see, and hopefully he can do that relatively soon. We just sort of got a little bit lucky. I say a little bit, we got massively lucky with whatever weird strategy weirdness happened there. But either way, that is all for this video, guys. We're in Belgium for the Belgian Grand Prix next at Spa. And yeah, if you guys did enjoy and want to see more content like this in the future, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.